Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Rhino and the Dude.
I'm the Rhino.
And I'm the Dude. And today we're joined by Mike Turpin, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu brown belt, Strangler, what was the London Strangler? What was the guy? You know, that's you in real life.
The Scranton Strangler.
The Scranton Strangler, yeah. And
dude, that'd be a good
comedian. But you know, you sneak up on people though, so you're very serial killer vibes with your chokes because you don't know that they're coming, and then the guy's asleep. I don't know how many black belts you put asleep, how many people you put asleep, but I'm sure you've lost count. I've seen a lot of the videos, and we've rolled before, and when we're rolling, you know, I don't know if you're, you know, putting some shoulder pressure or what it is. I'm like, all right, just first time before you rolled, I was like, I don't want to get put to sleep here, so. Let me know if you're about to choke me or if this is a choke, because some of the stuff that I see you put people to sleep on, I can't say that I've seen it.
Right.
So, I thank you for letting me know, like, yeah, this is a choke. I'm like, I had no clue. Okay, thanks for not putting me to sleep.
Yeah, man. A lot of it's shoulder pressure. A lot of it's different, you know. There's a lot of stuff that's left to be not even perfected. Like, I look at it like this. How long does it take somebody to perfect something as simple as a bowling stroke? How long would that take? Years?
Yeah.
How complex is a bowling stroke compared to, like, how many bowling strokes are there into making a jiu-jitsu game excellent? Millions? Yeah. How much more complex is the width? How much more expansive is just the base ground knowledge of jiu-jitsu before you even start adding depth? Yeah. What are you dealing with? You're dealing with an infinitely broader thing than bowling, which just in and of itself takes years to perfect. So you can take anything down and tunnel and add depth to anything, probably in a way that almost nobody ever has, unless it's obvious. Like, there's probably someone out there. There's Saulo Ibero and his pressure. There's Hodger Gracie and his arm bar or cross collar choke or mount. Like, there are things that some people, but even then he could probably tell you, oh, I only know so much about that.
Yeah.
I'm just the best at it.
Yeah.
You know? So I look at it like that.
Are you the best? I don't know who, I'm not the biggest guy on following everybody, but who else has chokes that just people don't realize they're being choked and they go to sleep?
It's tough, man, because it's like somewhere out there, there's the guy who's the best free throw guy.
Yeah.
Right? Or let's say there's somebody out there who's the best in the world at shooting 3-pointers, and that guy can't even play in the game.
Of course.
So, like, I'm not the elite tier of grappler.
Yeah.
So to get into the position to hit my chokes on a guy like that you saw at the ADCCs, it's very unlikely.
Yeah.
That being said, if I get it, like, remotely sunk in, or there's that angle where it works. Yeah, I mean, I have hit it on people who are world champions. I have hit it on people and they didn't know it was coming. And yeah, they thought they were passing my guard, and then the next thing, boom, they're in a choke. Or they were mounting me, and then boom, they're in a choke. So yes, it can happen. Lightning can strike.
Yeah.
And I might be the best in the world at something, but it's kind of a novelty.
Yeah. If you can't hit it at the highest level. Yeah.
You could be the best in the world at you know, reaching for toe holds and bottom side control.
Yeah.
And eventually you would be the best in the world of it, but what would it do you against the bests in the world at jiu-jitsu?
Exactly.
So I do think I probably intellectually understand chokes, and I know a lot of things about chokes that other people don't know, and they chalk it up to say, oh, well, you're built for this, you're bigger, you're this. It's like, well, you could line up 100 guys who do jiu-jitsu who are built similarly to me.
And they're not going to be able to do it.
None of them are doing it.
Yeah.
There's a couple guys. Neil Melanson is a guy that is an MMA jiu-jitsu grappling coach, mainly no-gi or pretty much all no-gi, and he talks about choking people with shoulder pressure, and there are people who've done it. I mean, Jason Von Flew was the first person to really popularize that idea, which he got from one of his instructors. But did they expand on it more than, if a guy's guillotining you, you can drive your shoulder?
Yeah, I think everybody knows the Von Flew.
Yeah,
Von Flew is like that thing where you catch the person that doesn't know grappling. I don't know how many people I've rolled with people for the first time and caught them in like the Von Flew like 3 times. I'm like, I told you, you can't do that.
Or those guys are just like never give up on that guillotine. Like,
Yeah.
just grab and they're just like, I'm
Right.
here. It's mine. Like, and they're like, no, you don't really have it anymore. And they're just like, no, I'll get it back. I'll get my legs back in there. Yeah, I'll get it. I'll get it.
Yeah.
And then,
So let's unpack it a little. And it's simple. Like, even if people don't watch jiu-jitsu, it makes a little bit of sense, right? Okay, there are submissions where you do the same thing to your opponent, and no matter what, it's all the same thing, even though we call it something different. So a Kimura is doing the same thing to your shoulder that an omoplata is doing, right? That's a pretty simple one to understand. And there's more situations where you can grab things, and there's mirror locks for this. There's all sorts of different things, but the same thing is like, is that Von Flue, that guillotine around your neck, is that an essential part of the Von Flue choke? And the answer is no.
Yeah.
Because anytime you put your arm or get your arm across my body, I can put my shoulder, I can get my shoulder. As a matter of fact, I don't even need that arm across my body. What makes a Von Flue choke a Von Flue choke?
Yeah.
What is it? It's that you ready? It's your shoulder is in a certain position and it's pressing down. And this goes even crazier because what do you think happens when you Von Flue somebody? What do you think's happening? Are you cutting off their airway? It's shoulder pressure to what? Their throat, their chest?
I mean, it's getting their carotid artery, right? I mean, now you're making me feel.
Well,
now you're
I mean-
exposing that. You're exposing my MMA jiu-jitsu.
no, I'm listening.
What would you think? What would you think is happening? Why would somebody pass out from a Von Flue choke?
There
What
must
are
be
you doing?
pressure. You must, because you're getting the shoulder pressure obviously is coming here to where you get this carotid artery, but the other one's here. So I guess there must be
the shoulder
this shoulder
okay.
is somehow coming and cutting this carotid artery off. I don't know the dynamics.
But you can do it without a grip. You don't need your bicep on the other. This is the answer I would think, but I don't think even a red belt would have the exact answer because I don't think that this is something that is held under a microscope often in the art of choking. You might be better. It might even be more common in the art of sambo for all I know, right? Like,
Yeah.
It's not that common in jiu-jitsu, but your carotid arteries run down to the front of the choke and connect to other arteries that come out in different directions at the top of the chest, the bottom of the throat. Your carotids run forward to the front. So if you put pressure on the top of somebody's chest, you can blood choke them. So it is one spot that you can push that chokes both carotid arteries.
Oh, because they come together.
And it's
Where is
cinching
it?
off. General, everyone's
Okay.
actually everyone's location's different.
Okay.
Yeah, I train with the black belt who says his carotid arteries, and he thinks it has to do with being Russian. That's what a judo coach told him, that it's common that their carotid arteries are deeper under tissue musculature on the outside of the neck, so it's harder to
And
choke
I've heard. Do you remember the story that Ron told about a guy that you could put him in a full rear naked choke, squeeze it, and he wouldn't go out. Yeah.
He might have some sort of muscle that is on the outside or expanding or breathing, or the placement of the carotids are different, especially as they branch away from, as everything branches away from the heart, there's a lot of individuality in where everything gets. But everything connects right around here. Let's say below I aim to put my shoulder right above where their heart would be, right at like the meat of the chest.
Because you know that there's something there.
It's the top of the lungs, so I figure this is what's all going on. I'm pressing in an area where blood is coming to the brain, right? Yeah. I'm pressing into the area that's almost like cinching off your lungs like the top of a balloon, like the stem of a balloon. So that's two versions of a choke right there. And then the third one would be I would add a blood choke and bicep on the far side carotid and then drive their own lat and shoulder up into the near side carotid like a normal arm triangle. So it's, in my opinion, I have three different ways that I'm choking somebody in that choke. So it's a blood choke, it cinches off the airway, and it's also a blood choke lower. So it's like a double blood choke. That's what I would think, I mean, who knows for sure, and everybody's different, but you can choke somebody without locking your hands. Have you ever seen like Marcelo Garcia choke some people with his shoulder in his north-south choke? There's some people in north-south know how to put people to sleep without really clasping their hands or using their arms much.
Yeah.
It's shoulder position. I do it too.
Yeah.
Marcelo's north-south choke, I'm sure, is better than mine. He was very, very, very good at it. But regardless, you can show somebody, look, I'm not even gonna connect my hands at all, and I'm just going to put my shoulder here, and it's going to choke you.
Yeah.
Right. So the other element of it, now this takes seeing it, but okay, when somebody's going for a guillotine, the arm that's wrapped around their head, is that shoulder on the mat? The answer is no, right? Because they're reaching up with that arm. So what you need to do is when you clasp your hands, you need to lift that shoulder up off the ground so there's an angle that you can drive into, okay? If I am catty cornered to somebody's shoulder.
So if I'm trying to guillotine you, you're going to lift this shoulder.
Don't even worry about the guillotine. I'm just saying that if somebody's guillotining you, what are they doing? They're reaching up off that corner. They're reaching up over to go for the guillotine. So I'm going to put something under that shoulder. I'm going to prop it up. And here's why. If somebody's back is flat, if your shoulder blades are flat, the most efficient way to add pressure is from straight above them. The problem is I'm not straight above them. I'm doing it typically from top half guard.
Yeah.
So I want to get the opposite side shoulder propped up off the mat and facing the angle in which I'm driving. So there's direct pressure. Does that make sense? My pressure is perpendicular.
Yeah.
Directly into the
But
choke.
you're getting underneath. So you're in a half guard. You're going. They're trying to go for the guillotine or whatever they're doing.
They're reaching up, whatever.
They're reaching up. You're underneath of the arm, like cupping that shoulder, the far side shoulder, and then you're bringing the pressure
I am
down.
taking my fists and I'm trying to prop up
That
the shoulder.
far side shoulder.
So now I have a straight line that I can drive into.
Okay.
I can even do it from far side
on
control.
this side. Okay.
If I have traditional side control, I can lift up the far shoulder, which a lot of people turn into you anyway. And then I can add shoulder pressure. You bring your own shoulder to your own hands. Shoulder to your hands. So there's direct pressure onto what I've propped up. And everything in between gets squished like a vice.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there's a lot of different cues. Then if you're adding to the blood choke, I think bring my head towards the opposite elbow. See, because that creates direct pressure squeezing side to side. So you have a system for driving straight in. And honestly, I would even try to get under their lat and prop all the meat of that body up off the ground. So I have a good angle to drive into it. I've lifted them up. I've wrapped around them. And I can choke them a bunch of different ways there depending what they give me. I know now it's getting a little hard to follow the more and more deep you go into it, but that's just that one specific choke. But who's taking the time to unpack all this?
Not many people. No. Yeah. What started you on that journey?
I started off, I learned an arm triangle series in a catch wrestling. It wasn't pure straight catch wrestling, but we have a guy, Jason Brown, who was Snake Pit certified catch can, and he ran a no-gi grappling class that was based off of Snake Pit catch wrestling. And we went over an arm triangle series that was mount. Then you would step to the side. You could like knee mount them there, and if you couldn't finish, you went over different grips too to finish, and then you would step through to like a kesikatami with an arm triangle. Okay. And that was the series. And the thing was, you would get the arm triangle as tight as you could in mount. Then you would step to the side, and if that didn't do it, you would step through.
Okay.
Just like in a gi, if you're going to go for a bow and arrow choke, you usually set the collar grip as tight of a choke as you can. Then you take them to the bow and arrow. So you get it as tight as you can. Hopefully you've got 70 or 80% of the choke already. Then when you step to the side in a traditional arm triangle, it'll add that last 20 to 30%. And if you can't get it, you would step through. They would say that you're not able to choke people in mount, though.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I'm choking everybody in mount. And they're like, they're just tapping because it's the gym. They're just tapping because it's the gym. And I'm like, well, I've done it in competition. Like 5 months in as a white belt, I'm tapping people in mount arm triangle. And they're like, well, they're just afraid. They're just wimps. They're not tough. Yeah. Well, then I start putting people to sleep with it in mount. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's a choke.
No. They're just taking sleeping pills.
So once I realized that, I was like,
Pop
wait.
melatonin before the match.
Yeah, and I was like, wait a second. You want me to step off to the side where I'm not controlling their far side arm.
And this is from like a head and arm position.
Yeah, normal arm triangle.
Normal arm triangle.
The most traditional arm triangle.
Okay.
You set it up in mount, and then what would you do? You would step to the side.
So you're putting your weight in. essentially.
Yeah, however you would normally do an arm triangle, I'm doing it, but I guess I'm doing it a little bit better than the average person at this point. Not the best. There are people out there who can choke people and mount from it, but I'm figuring things out. I'm kind of torquing my body, because why do you step to the side? Your hips aren't actually choking them.
Yeah.
You can torque your shoulder blades in the same direction that you would step to the side. You don't actually need to walk your feet there.
Yeah.
You can angle your spine.
Yeah.
So I guess I had the right mobility.
Okay,
I knew
you.
how to lead with my shoulder, and I knew how to use my head, to create that pressure and drive up. I figured out some things. I didn't like being high up. I liked being lower. So I was down on the lat. There was more meat to drive up in that carotid. Whatever. For whatever reason, and this probably played to my build to a degree at first. I knew I did the arm triangle well. I knew I could do it from mount, right? But then I'm thinking, if you step off to the side, every escape opens up.
Yeah.
Because how can you escape somebody in an arm triangle when they're secured in, especially top half, but even mount?
Yeah.
It's riskier for the guy pinning them to step to the side. How often do you see in MMA a guy, or even in jiu-jitsu, somebody has an arm triangle, then the guy escapes and gets in good position? Mm-hmm. So I was like, well, I'm not going to do that. If I've already figured out that I can pin them and mount and they can't escape, and I can set up an arm triangle, I'm not giving up mount. I don't care if I don't submit them.
Yeah.
I'll stay here forever.
Yeah.
And that's how top half became for me. It's like, oh, wait a second. Everybody, we already figured out that they can't sweep me in top half. I'm playing. A lot of times you figure out, oh, wait, I can smash you in top half and you don't have an option.
Yeah.
You're not one of those guys that knows how to elevate my hips and go for a leg lock, or you're not going to win the underhook battle, or you're not going to do this. I've already figured out I can pin you in top half. Well, why do I want to give up top half? Why do I want to go to side control where your legs are free to swim left and right, and you have all these weird escape options and you can scramble? Why would I want to escape mount to the near side? The traditional arm triangle, you are not pinning the entire far side of their body, because you're just on the near side head and arm, and you're not pinning the hips unless you're doing some bullshit like knee mount thing on the near side hip. But then it's harder to choke them.
Yeah.
And you're giving them space. There's really no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you do an arm triangle, as they kind of wiggle and escape, positionally they have escaped. As they get out of the choke, positionally they are free, because the choke is the only thing holding them there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So as the choke gets looser, as they adjust, as they wiggle, your position's weaker. But if I'm flattening you out in top half and you wiggle out of the choke, you're still in my half guard. I mean, I call it my half guard, but I'm in top half.
Yeah.
If I'm in mount, I'm still mounting you. You didn't escape my mount, but if I'm off to the side, now there's nothing holding you there. Mm-hmm. So that was really it, man. And it just, I'm the type of person that if I'm going to do something, it has to make sense to me. I'm not the natural who just sees somebody do it, mimics it, does it. I can't follow. I'm the worst drilling partner in the world.
Yeah.
Because when a coach says, all right, you're just going to arm drag, you go here, this and that, and they don't go over the reasons, they don't go over the details. If I don't know why you do it, I can't remember it, and I have no ability to just replicate it.
Yeah.
That
makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. So
it sounds like you're, and we're getting off in the weeds, and we're not a specifically jiu-jitsu podcast. The
right.
people,
So
the people that are like, what are they talking about?
Okay. Yeah. We could get off the rails.
But it sounds like what you're saying is something that I've always, maybe we have some commonality in this. I've always been more so on principles, and it sounds like you're
concepts,
looking at concepts and principles versus all this other stuff. So sometimes I'll go and I'll go to a class and there'll be 50 different techniques to this one technique. There's no way I'm going to remember all that, but every once in a while there'll be like one little thing. I'm like, okay, so I'm more to the point to where I know I'm not going to learn this whole thing and the 50 sequences that aren't necessarily going to happen right away, when there's somebody that's, fighting against you anyway. So I'm more so looking for that one thing that I can add to something else, or the principles of something else, especially with choking. Like I always thought the same thing, nowhere on the same level of understanding, but even just on the crowd, how do I cut this off and cut this off? That's a choke, not that I'm going to do this or do that. You know,
Right.
what are the principles to it? Yeah.
Jiu-jitsu to me is a rule set.
Yeah.
I understand some of the things some of the guys do, but to me, it's grappling, and I understand things like pressure, hand fighting, head control, head position.
Yeah.
And then you learn things like flatten your opponent flat to the ground. Well, that's a principle of wrestling.
Yeah.
You know, I did a wrestling tournament last year, but I never did wrestling but I'm a grappler. You know, I whatever rule set you want to do, I don't really care. I mean, even MMA, but at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, those things, if somebody was going over some specific pass and they're like, you want to grab this here, you want to grab this here, you move your knees slightly this way, I might only pay attention to the part where they said you need to get them flat in order to do the pass. See, that clicks. It's like, oh, wait. So you're telling me in order to hit this pass, my main objective is to get them flat and keep them flat, and they don't have an option?
And a lot of people that don't teach that main thing. They just say flat, and then let me expand for 10 minutes on all the other details.
They might say it, you know? But nobody realizes they can extrapolate that one detail. They can take out that one piece. It's like
nothing works.
It's like the grips. It's like they'll go over that. Yeah, in this position, you grab this grip this way, but they won't explain that you can always grab that grip.
Yeah.
That's a puzzle piece that you can make many puzzles out of.
Of course.
You can make many pictures out of that puzzle piece.
Yeah.
And those are the details that go a long way, man. It's like, it really is something that is insane to me that somebody will go over, okay, in a snap down, we grab the head like this. Somebody might know the best snap down in the world, and they'll know that instead of grabbing the neck, you grab up towards the top of the head so that they get pulled down easier, that you have a longer lever, that you're levering against their weak neck instead of their strong back. And they might even explain it well. They might even be able to say, dude, you could throw 700 pounds on your shoulder blades like powerlifters do it all the time, and it doesn't break their posture.
Yeah.
But nobody can do that at the top of their head, right?
Yeah.
But guess what? They leave it at that. They don't even go to tell you anytime you grab somebody's head, you can do this.
Yeah.
That student, that white belt thinks, oh, so when I snap people down, I do that. Yeah, but every time you grab somebody's head, you can do that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it is just understanding that there are many things you can take out from one detail. Like somebody will show you a sweep where they're like, all right, the goal is to get your weight under your opponent so you are their base. Mm-hmm. But this moron will think he can only do that if he has this wrist control with this pants grip and they move this exact way. No, that means that if you get under your opponent, you can off balance them and disrupt their base, no matter which way you're gripping them up.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Isn't it more fun to?
It is.
Isn't it more creative, fun to be that way?
It's art. It's art instead of just a rule set. Based upon from the time we started, you had 1 hour.
I can go over if you need to too.
Okay.
I don't need to leave the second an hour's up. No, we got time.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So let's expand a little bit further into other
let's
things.
Let's go delve into other topics.
Because we got people that listen that are probably
not jiu-jitsu nuts.
thinking,
Yeah.
like,
Also,
what the heck is going
before we
on?
switch off, I love everything you're saying. That's so cool. Thought process. For
Thank you.
Agree.
I've been working on a mounted arm triangle for a long time, trying to get it like.
Oh, I got to show you then.
Yeah.
And I told you,
shit too.
I literally tagged him in your post and said that you should have him to Stanley Combatives to do a seminar.
Yeah,
So,
dude, I
let's
don't
set it
even
up.
need set payment anything. If people they can even just donations, or people from outside gyms pay people from inside. I don't care about any of that. I just want to teach some people it and see what happens. So
Yeah. So,
Was this the?
Oh yeah, okay.
And the.
have you heard about this?
We don't know
Other
what
than
we're
me?
talking about.
Let me
So
see.
earlier today, Eddie texted me
Don't say what's
some
going
statement,
on. Don't say
and I
what's
had
going
no
on.
idea what he was talking.
I told both of you guys.
Yeah.
But don't say it because it's
Is this like a TikTok thing?
It is a TikTok thing. But anyway,
We can't say the name of it.
no. Maybe I didn't tell you because I was talking to someone. No, it was in relation to something that you'll see soon, but we can't reveal it on the podcast.
Yeah, we can't
because
talk about it
it's a
yet.
surprise. But I
Sorry,
used
it's not
this,
for you.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. But I use this reference in the thing. So we'll go ahead and do a Sammy, and we'll hold it up. This is the period. If you guys haven't heard of it, we'll get a quick 30-second reaction. So first off, I don't know what Maryland town would you say that this woman is from? Can you see her?
Yeah, I can see her. Is there a voice, or are we just judging by the way she looks?
By the way she looks.
Do you want to guess first or me?
You go first.
Maybe Maryland? I'm guessing either like Cecil County or Dundalk. Or maybe like even like Hamden, like something hipstery. I can't tell.
I was going to go Cecil County.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, I was going to go like near Hartford County, like the Parkville area.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Not Perryville.
I'm not going to talk bad about any of my Marylanders. You know, I may have
What a setup!
That's some BS. That's some
Whoa!
He's like, I ain't gonna talk bad about nobody because people gonna be mean to me.
Yeah, people are gonna be mean to me, and I'm gonna run for office one day, so I can't be. Oh, you see what he said about me?
Port deposit.
Okay.
There's Southern Maryland too.
Yeah.
Southern Maryland.
All right, here we go. Ready?
Brit Barbie. Period I, period 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 period I, period
Just got flow.
Damn. You feel the build. You can feel the build up.
Yeah, there's something big happening. Oh no.
It's a long
So she
video.
does that whole video.
She pretty much does.
Is there a verse?
Is there a verse
There's
at all?
the verse is. I'm so period you're so period I'm so period you're so
Wow.
period and then there's another verse about her bag, and she says my bag's period your bag's period my bag's period your bag's
she
period
turned-
and then it goes back to period period
So she took a children's like playground game song and
Is
turned
that-
it into a song.
Is there a playground?
I was thinking about like something like Miss Mary Mac, like the hand little tapping
Yeah.
games that kids
That's
play. That's what that
the
made me
fact
think
of the
of.
matter.
Mary Mac was Mary Mo.
Yeah, all dressed like kind of like rhyming on the same beat and stuff.
Children's rhymes are more complex.
Well, yes, it was more
It's not
complex.
even. What is
Mary grew up.
Rhyme, you say rhyme. Be careful. I don't even know if it's a rhyme.
Yeah.
Well, she's
So,
rhyming
it's hype.
with and with like
Period. Period.
Now it's gonna be stuck
It's
in
like
your
a
head.
little like reversal.
Dude, it
It's
is.
like
It's
a.
bad.
I wanted to start
That's just-
doing it with different stuff. So let's do that. Let's do a little test here. You know, is it period or period So, which one? Burger King, McDonald's. What you gotta say period? I'm gonna go Burger King period McDonald's period
I'm reversing it.
I'll
Go
reverse
ahead.
No, yeah, all right. I think Burger King is period and McDonald's is period
With
seems
him,
top
like-
shelf.
That's what it
Seems
is.
like
That's what
lower
she said.
shelf.
Because she's
Us
so,
low-key-
You think
that's
Burger
what it is.
King's top
It's
shelf?
is better. And
like Burger
is
King-
worse. That's what she says in the song. Because she goes on to say,
didn't
I'm
hear
so
that part.
period
Oh.
you're so period my bag's period your bag's period I would just explain this.
Oh.
So you're asking if we like McDonald's
So this
or Burger
is,
King
but this is
better.
how this is the new language.
No, so this is how this is now
we
how
have
we
to,
rank things.
This is the
This is our
TikTok
ranking
language.
system. Got it. This is our ranking
period
system.
period So Burger King or McDonald's?
Dude, sorry. McDonald's period Burger King's period
Period, give it a little more. Can you do it like period?
And she sticks her tongue out, so she's like period
Yeah.
period period period
She only sticks her tongue out on one of them.
The
The
She goes
She sticks her
the
tongue out like that on the
Yeah.
You think she would do it for the bad one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Right?
think so.
You're like, period, 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 That's what.
Or maybe her whole song is about like we have it in reverse and she's talking about how everything she has is just like the worst. She's like, my bag, the worst. Your bag, awesome, dude.
It's just like it's kind of like an Eminem song back in the day. You know, like my life sucks.
it's like the whole rap from the end
It's
of 8
rock
Mile.
bottom.
That's her rap from the end of rap. That's her version of the rap from the end of 8 Mile where he's like insulting himself the whole time. She's like, yeah, I am a bum.
I love it. We were supposed to get, like, I didn't know what you were saying. And then when you said the Burger King thing, I'm like, oh, he's going abstract. He doesn't mean like that's the better
He's turning
one.
this to a rating system.
No,
now.
it's a rating system. Like, what if we
Okay,
have to
I like
use
it.
TikTok language, and that is how you say yes or no? Like,
Siskel and Ebert give this period
Now I really want like a little like logo to come up on the screen and be like school buses. Period.
everybody rate us.
Yeah.
Is this episode period or period
Meh. Is there a middle? Period. Nah.
She gave us the 1 and 10. There's a lot of places you can go in between.
No, she gave us a yes and a no.
yes and
That's
no.
all we
That's
got
how
now.
you-
We got
that's a new-
ah.
It's like the movie Idiocracy. You ever seen that?
Oh, yeah.
You never seen Idiocracy? So what is the premise of it? The guy is in like he did like a test to where he was frozen or something for a year in a chamber. Was that what it was? And then they
Yeah.
forgot about him, and he wakes up like 150 years later or something like that.
Is this Futurama?
It's fun. It's actually Mike Judge, the guy who made like Beavis and Butthead, and I don't know what else.
So
he
is it a
made, but-
comedy?
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
comedy.
oh, it's funny.
The premise is just
The name of it made me think of like something serious.
Idiocracy. The name of it just suggests of how the dumbing down of the world essentially. And he wakes up in this time when people are really stupid, and they would talk kind of like mongoloid, and the idea is what was kind of brilliant about it in a way. Like, I mean, I'm sure it's funny. But
Yeah.
did you think it was funny?
Oh,
But
yeah,
it's
yeah.
more like it was almost like it's some of the things that came up in the movie, was it like 12 years ago, 15 years ago, are
been
kind of
more.
coming true.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a period movie or period.
I think the movie is period but
Yeah.
the people's brains
The
in the movie
idea
are period
is period
yeah.
Well, the idea is period but now
So
it's like coming
one of the
true.
famous things. So they're having crop trouble in the movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he goes to the leaders and all, and I think they were gonna kill him because he said the reason why the crops aren't growing is because you're not putting water on the crops. So they're putting Gatorade, which they call Brandow. Everything ran on Brandow because it had electrolytes. So they were putting Gatorade on the crops and wondering why they don't grow. So they were about to kill him because he's like, no, you have to put water on the crops. So they were about to kill him, and he thought about it, and he ends up saving his life because he told him, he's like, well, the crops spoke to me and they told me that they want water, and then they started putting water on the crops. And they grew. But when he just said
Guy's a
that,
plant guru.
but when he said that plants need water, man, they're like, no, kill him. He's like, the plants spoke to me and they told me they want to drink water. Oh, he's great.
Yeah.
He was sitting there. He's like sitting in the jail. He's like, I got
And
this
they had
idea.
like
It's period
They had like a big stadium, like full for his execution because he said
It wasn't like a sport or something. They were. I can't even. I don't remember.
it was
the
like a
two.
gladiator game, something of that
like
sort.
a Squid Game type idea where it's like
I never watched it, but
when
I
you
know what you're
survive.
talking about. No. It was like
Everyone just dies.
They were gonna kill him for the blasphemy of saying that you don't put Gatorade on plants.
Okay. Well. Okay.
Are we doing more period period
I mean,
Well,
Is Burger King, McDonald's
given
where it
the-
ends?
I was
You have
done
one?
period. I was gonna ask you.
Oh, okay.
We're talking
let's
about movies
cut it.
now.
Yeah.
What other good movie? Have you seen any movies lately that you've been like, yes, this is sick?
I got one. Go
Don't-
ahead, Eddie.
No, he just talked about one of his movies. You give us yours.
Did,
that
did you
movie's
guys
years old,
see that movie that came out this year? It was Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, or whatever it is.
Is that the Asian woman?
Yeah.
I
is
wanted to
that?
see it.
Mind blowing.
It's like she can interact with the other versions of herself from other realities.
Dude, it is.
It
It
looks
is.
so cool. I saw the
epic.
preview for it. It looked really sick. I never watched it though. It's out in I saw it at
seen it.
Walmart the other day. I was about to buy it to watch it.
Yeah.
But I figured I could
it's-
stream it somewhere.
Essentially, someone comes to this woman, like a version of either, I think it's like of her husband or something. I don't know the initial icebreaker, but I think it's a version of her husband that explains that he's from like another dimension of reality. And there are these people that learned how to, other versions of yourself in another timeline, they learned how to cross over different realities. I guess you'd have to think of something like, if you have any sort of grasp of like quantum mechanics or people talking about like an infinite reality, it gets pretty technical, but it's done well, dude. It's done better than like an Interstellar or any of those other movies that try to be sophisticated.
Where can I watch it?
Anywhere. It was one of the biggest movies of the year.
Is it on like Netflix or anything, or
I don't know,
Prime or?
You could definitely rent it on Prime for a few bucks. It's worth it.
I saw it at Walmart, and I was really thinking about it. I was going to check the Red Box.
Gotcha.
See if it was there.
Have you guys
It's around my
watched
house.
the most recent season of Cobra Kai? Are you
Yes.
guys Cobra Kai?
Yes.
Just finished
I
it
watched
the other day.
Cobra Kai.
What is your all right?
I saw your Facebook stats about this, and I would 100% agree with you.
I'm getting I did like it. I said that it's starting to lose me a little bit, but I just want to know. I have predictions of what's going to happen. There's only really one way they can go with this. So first off, John Kreese fakes his death. Spoiler alert! Anybody that hasn't watched it, turn this off.
We've
But
also
we're about
spoiled
to-
like the movie you spoiled now too. We spoiled a lot of stuff.
But I mean, if I'm spoiling a movie from
Whatever.
20 years ago, like
Yeah,
come on.
that's fair. Okay, that's fair.
What is John Kreese? So John Kreese faked his death or whatever and ran off. They know that
Snuck
he's
out of
wanted
jail,
now.
yeah.
He's a convict on the run. It's not like he's gonna go open up Cobra Kai and be like, "I'm here." So
I think,
what's gonna happen?
well, isn't this Sakai?
That's what I'm saying.
Isn't
He's
that
gonna
in, like.
It's in
China or Japan?
or something
So
like that.
could he just show up at the
That's what's
Sakai-
gonna happen. He's gonna be like
Sakai,
in
Sakai, whatever
hiding
it is?
there, and then I bet you that he's gonna be orchestrating that they lose, and then they're gonna figure out that they lose, and Daniel LaRusso is gonna be like, ah.
Well, I have a theory, and I've watched a couple theories online. Do you know the skinny Asian chick from this season?
Yeah.
Well, you remember the flashback with Terry Silver and John Kreese? There's that little girl hiding with them.
I saw that, and
I think that's the same woman. That woman is that little girl, and she's gonna be cool with John Kreese because they were friendly when she was a kid.
how is that even? Wait a minute.
Why else
Has
is
a
that?
lot of stuff possible
You're
in this
saying
show.
you're saying the master, the Asian lady.
Masters, yeah, the master in the dojo who like gave Tori.
I thought that you were talking about the other like
the
Asian kid. I was like, that
No,
doesn't
no, no.
line up.
No, the woman.
Timeline.
The
These
woman.
guys are like 70 years old. That was what they're
No,
like,
the
20.
woman. The woman, and then
Oh, I thought that when I saw it, I didn't even think.
And,
I didn't think that. I thought that's why they had it like that.
Terry Silver's gonna die. He's terminally ill.
Is he?
So supposedly in hospitals, like the third floor is the like terminally ill patient floor, and when Johnny and Carmen are in the elevator and he sees them, behind his head is a 3, like he's coming out of the third floor, and then he mentions like death a lot in the season. Like, he's like, I'm not afraid to die. You're not gonna kill
Well,
me.
he's in jail now. I mean, what is he? What are his crimes though, and how long would he actually be in? That's the,
So
I mean, he cut a guy with a sword, so it was assault with a deadly weapon, attempted murder.
He pretty much almost killed Chosen, which also Chosen's my favorite person this season. I love Chosen.
Yeah, I
He's
like
funny.
Lawrence.
Chosen.
I like Danny Lawrence. Chosen's cool.
Johnny Lawrence, you mean?
Johnny Lawrence, Danny Lawrence.
Well, that's what he's turned into.
But
now.
why am I forgetting the names now? The main guy,
Chosen, Daniel
LaRusso? Oh, no, Miguel? Wow.
LaRusso.
Yeah.
I don't like anyone in the LaRusso family. No one.
This is what I was agreeing with you on. I'm not a
You?
big fan of most of them.
Well, I mean, I don't like them as much as I like, Johnny Lawrence and that sort of thing. And the wife's kind of like a less annoying version. Remember like Skylar in Breaking Bad? Did you watch that?
yeah.
Like she does kind of get like in the way, but I like her enough. I don't have an issue. The son's a little brat.
Oh yeah. I was
yeah.
like when he got beat up, I was like, good for you.
I don't mind Daniel, but I mean,
I feel like Daniel. Think about it. Daniel like instigates everything in the sense of he had his own business. He was doing fine, and your ex nemesis from when you're a teenager decides that he wants to open a business, and now your life goal is to
Reopen the gym, and you're just like,
to destroy him. It's like just stay in your lane, man. Like, why don't you be happy for somebody else?
but he had that terror because of what happened to him, all this worry of what was going on. And he really did try to forgive or move past it. But there were things that it was like, it looked like it was something it wasn't.
yeah.
Because there were all these weird tells from Daniel LaRusso's perspective that Johnny Lawrence was up to the old Cobra Kai. And then when Kreese came in, there was a lot of elements to it that and Johnny Lawrence did need to be saved from that thing. He got.
Oh, he did.
He got under Kreese's spell again and was being an idiot. My thing on this with Cobra Kai is this. I don't think now is the time to look at it and say the show is starting to go downhill. I think the first season was pretty damn good and absolutely 10 out of 10 enjoyable, amazing. I think it stays enjoyable and very fun, but like by season 2 or 3, it became like almost like a kid, like a high school musical meets like soap opera meets Karate Kid. The fight sequences got ultra.
Yeah. And also, can I say, Bad Hawk is so much cooler than like Nice Hawk.
Yeah.
Like Bad Hawk was.
Yeah.
You were like, when you saw Bad Hawk, you're like, that's pretty cool. Like he was going nuts, being crazy. You're like, he was like the perfect villain for that show at the time.
Yeah.
Like the perfect upcoming villain in like the whole idea.
Who's your least favorite kid in the whole show?
The LaRusso boy.
Yeah, he's pretty annoying.
He kind of
LaRusso boy is that's one of them.
That Asian guy.
And then the Asian guy on Cobra Kai.
Yeah, he's pretty lame.
Yeah.
The guy who's
asshole.
just his whole. They're like, you're just gonna be here and be a tool, and that's your whole entire like character.
He's a real ass.
And also, I don't really like the two guys who work at the car dealership that are on like 3 scenes each season.
Oh yeah, the dummy. They're like they play that stupid.
The one guy who's like he was dating the other guy's sister at the party, and then they're fighting in the bar.
They're like very. I don't know.
I know. I was all on Chosen this season though. I loved Chosen. I thought
Chosen's awesome.
Like the first entry season of the season.
I feel like you can't dislike
He gets
Chosen.
out the pool and he's just butt naked, and she's like, "What?" Are you? He's just like, "Hey, good morning."
I feel like you can't dislike Chosen.
Yeah.
I was worried he was going to wind up being a bad guy. I was glad that they.
I
kept
thought
him
that at
good.
one point too. I thought that he was that Silver when he went over Silver's. I thought that he was like a double agent for a second. Did you guys think that?
I just thought he was gonna
double
get
agent?
duped.
Or where I almost thought that he was with LaRusso, but actually with Chosen, but LaRusso was convinced that he was getting information on Chosen, but really it was
the opposite way.
And he was feeding misinformation. But I mean, I didn't think that at the end, but when that episode, whatever episode that was going, I was like, is he like a double agent? Is he really not like LaRusso and is playing against him or what?
Yeah, there was the foreshadowing of potential, like he has a vendetta with LaRusso, and he kept showing signs like when he beat the guys up at the furniture store and went overboard, and I was like, okay, maybe they're showing him out to be a little bit of or just he's a heel. Is he just like, either if he's trying to sabotage, or is he a loose cannon to the point where he's not of good integrity? Because to be one of the good guys, you kind of have to keep your moral integrity to a degree. I'm like, oh no, are they making him cross lines that are going to make him out to be a bad guy before long?
Yeah.
But I love him.
Yeah.
My thing, there was a point in the show where I was like, oh my God, like who is coming up with this? I think it was last season or the season before. I mean, I say like 2 or 3 seasons since the newest one. Do you remember the scene where Johnny Lawrence was making the people jump over the buildings?
Oh yeah.
And there was that giant, I'm like, this is literally.
And they were in the concrete truck.
Yeah,
it was
they were walking around the concrete mixer.
Like, why make it that over the top, and why make it that far fetched? Like that same exact scene where they're on top of the buildings. First of all, it was such a distance where any kid would have died. Yeah. Like, why does it need to be so unbelievable and so extreme? And it ruins the actual intellectual merit of the show. At that point, you're just like, oh, this show it's a soap opera when it comes to integrity.
Yeah.
I get that it's fun. I love it. I'm excited to watch it. I've rewatched it.
The fact of the matter is, did you watch it as a kid, Karate Kid?
Yeah.
I was a karate. I loved it. Especially
Mr.
when
Miyagi's my favorite person ever.
When I got into martial arts, I watched the Karate Kid. Even though I didn't do karate, I was just like, oh yeah, this is because when you get into martial arts, especially traditional martial arts, you want to see everything of that. So I watched all the Karate Kids and all. So there's a bit of nostalgia with it. To where I'll say, if we didn't watch it and we weren't in martial arts and didn't have that experience, probably wouldn't be that interested in it, because it really is kind of made for kids. You know what I mean? Like if you never got involved, you probably
I think definitely after season, like maybe after season 2.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I think.
After season 2, I think it started to go that way. Yeah. I think we're noticing how popular it was with like younger demographic too. And they were like, okay, we're gonna kind of.
And they know. I mean, people like us are watching it because we have. I mean, it adds to the story.
And like
the
first season got you hooked. Like the first season was great. Like just seeing Johnny Lawrence now, I thought was such a cool idea.
Yeah.
Especially,
But in the movies, I'm almost a subscriber to the theory that Johnny Lawrence really wasn't that bad of a guy.
are you talking about the How I Met
fan
Your Mother?
theory? Huh? No.
There's a How I Met Your Mother episode where they're going to Barney's bachelor party,
No.
and he wants the real Karate Kid there, and he goes, "I want William Zabka, the real Karate Kid." But they bring him the guy who plays Daniel LaRusso instead. He's like pissed. He's like, "You're not the real Karate Kid," because he decided that Johnny Lawrence was the real Karate Kid.
No, because there's just some things where in the original movie, there's a fan theory where LaRusso was not all innocent in it. And like, so I think he actually hit Lawrence first in the little brawl they had.
Yeah.
And then like Lawrence was trying to do better. And it's like the one scene, like, yeah, he's smoking pot in the bathroom, but it's like, okay, yeah, maybe if you want to be if you want to tell on him or something.
Did you break the computer?
No, I'm kidding. If you want to tell him or something, but then he goes and pours water on him. It's like, why? Like the guy's smoking weed. If you really want to go tell on him or something, even though it's like, seriously, as a kid, but I don't want people smoking weed in the bathroom with my kids, but as a kid, I wouldn't have snitched. But anyway, it was just stuff like that. And like, you're going to pour water on the guy.
Yeah, and a lot of it started because he was flirting with like Johnny's ex-girlfriend.
Yeah. So there is like a whole thing of that. And then the kick was illegal too. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the show, they do a good job of showing you the story from both sides.
That was one thing that was good. But yeah, I like Johnny Lawrence more than.
Yeah, definitely.
He's cool. He's the coolest guy in the show. It is disappointing when he gets like caught up in that crease thing again, and he's kind of not really caring about the kids and Miguel and all. Like, there is a time period where you're like, Johnny, you're better than this.
Yeah.
Like, the guy in season 1, for the most part of it, was like, we like this guy. There was a period where he kind of was falling off the rails a little.
Yeah, true.
Which is all right. I mean, I get it, but,
That finger thing's period.
That finger thing. Period. Period. So, what was I going to say?
Oh, wait. I never got to do my movie.
Yeah,
I got hype up now.
Oh, dang. Okay, go
Have
ahead.
you seen the movie Nobody?
No.
Nobody.
I told you about it.
Is that with the guy from Better Call Saul? No?
No, I don't think so. He did a lot of comedy before this. So the whole concept is this guy's a nobody. And one day someone breaks into his house and then like tries and like robs him and he lets him go. But then you find out like this guy's a nobody and then he goes out and like finds these people. And you find out like it's pretty much John Wick. Mm-hmm. But this guy's like,
isn't that with the
just
guy?
a random dad.
Isn't that with Saul Goodman from Breaking Bad and all?
I don't know what's all good. I never watched
the
the
lawyer.
Odenkirk, something Odenkirk, Bob Odenkirk's name. He had like the
that probably is honestly.
Mr. Show or something.
Okay.
He was
Yeah,
in.
I think it is.
Yeah.
But if you want like a good fun action movie, and I think it's supposedly technically set in like the same universe as John Wick. Really fun one to watch. A lot of action. They do like a lot of cool scenes, like classical music that matches up like what's going on.
I have a hard time watching action movies nowadays because I feel like they switch the scene. Like they do such a fast scene switch with the new action movies to where I almost feel like I'm dizzy from some of the they'll do like the shaky camera and switch the scenes and I'm like, I can't even watch this. Like
give Nobody a chance.
Okay.
I really I sat there. I just kind of bought it because I heard about it on a podcast that I watch, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna check it out. And I was like, got 10 minutes into it. I'm like, oh, this is cool. And I was hooked. And then I've watched it like 3 times since too.
Yeah.
Like I'll randomly like be working and I'll like just put it on.
So what do you guys think about the most recent UFC debacles?
All the 279 stuff.
Yeah. What do you guys think of that?
Well, Khamzat just ran out and just was like,
So
choking to Holland.
Oh, that was crazy.
Yeah, he just walked out.
Should they make Khamzat fight at 85 now?
Dude, I don't even know.
I think honestly, with the way that 85 is at the top, he might do better at 85 at the top.
I mean, yeah, against Adesanya, he might be able to do that. I wonder if Adesanya, like,
there's not many like.
You think he could do that to Adesanya?
Crazy grapplers.
I think he'd have a better chance doing it to Adesanya than he would Kamaru Usman. I mean, I think he might beat Leon Edwards. Mm-hmm. I think Usman.
Kobe Covington.
I think Usman and Colby whoop his ass.
Yeah,
I do. I think both of them whoop his ass.
Yeah.
I think if if that fight that we saw started the exact way it did 10 times, but he gets out of that choke, just that one choke, or defends another 10 seconds, 15 seconds, I think that the odds start drastically turning to Kevin Holland's favor, because you can't keep that
Everybody
pace.
was saying, that's what everybody, I'm sure we all were saying that, like, okay, if he doesn't beat him here, he's going to gas. That's what I was saying. I'm like,
no chance.
if he does not finish him, that you can't do that. Like,
he came in hot.
Yeah.
I think he just knew.
Strategy's going to bite him in the ass eventually. He's going to come in thinking he can do something. There's a reason guys like Habib tell him he needs to chill out and be more of like a professional and get with a good team and like stop with all the craziness.
What team is he with?
Doesn't he train Darren Till now?
Yeah, I'm not even sure, but he trains in like what area
Is it Wales?
Yeah,
It's
something
the
like
UK,
that.
I believe.
I just don't know, man. I mean, the guy has a bad attitude. He's like, I don't care about making weight. I'll beat all these guys. But then he's like, I won't fight Robert Whitaker. He's cool, but I'll fight everybody else. I'll kill these guys. They suck. I didn't like him from the beginning, dude. He's rubbed me wrong in all of his interviews.
He definitely is a heel now for sure.
Yeah,
He's a
I think
drama
he's now
queen.
embracing it.
Do you remember when he like quit MMA? He retired.
He retired at one point for like
He's
a
a
week.
drama queen.
Oh
dude.
yeah, because Kobe Covington was like, I'm not worried about somebody who quits the sport because of a common cold. This man quit because of a common cold, and he calls him cum shot.
Yeah, you guys,
Just the stuff he says.
I'm
Like,
not worried about cum shot Shemaev.
I'm
This guy
sorry.
quit because of common
some of the stuff
cold.
Kobe says.
I
is
love
gold.
Kobe Covington.
Yeah,
Some of the stuff he says
Kobe's
is so
funny.
funny.
But you know that I almost did Kobe Covington, like his gimmick before he did Kobe Covington. Like the whole everything that he does.
Yeah.
So you remember, like, what, I don't know if we fought on some of the same cards and all.
Right.
Like, you remember, like, the
I've
interviews and
seen
stuff?
you be like talking afterwards, like animated and hype, but I don't remember specifically.
So
what you said.
I'd come up with gimmicks or whatever. Drop the mic,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one, I had him come in as my translator, and then we got in trouble for that. I was like, I need my translator.
They tried to
Eric.
kick me.
I wanted to have him translate for me, even though I was going to speak English, but it was that the announcer wasn't good enough to talk to me, so he had to speak through him.
Yeah, and then after it, the guy who ran the show looked at me. I'm like, I don't know what the heck that was. I'm gonna go sit in my seat and I won't say another word.
That
And
was
then
my
he's
first fight. I
If
didn't
I
have
see
anything
you
together.
doing anything annoying tonight, I'm kicking you out. I said, okay, I'm gonna go sit in my seat and mind my own business.
Was that Brad?
Walked straight to my
No,
corner and sat down.
not Brad. Brad,
Some
I think
athletic
Brad
commission
told us
guy?
the athletic commission guy.
Yeah, they can be a little stiff.
Do you know who I'm talking about? WKA? Do you ever have
Yeah, I mean,
experience with him?
I know the guys.
We had Jesse Stern in here, and he was talking about the WKA guy that had a real stick up his butt.
He was not happy with me in one bit.
Yeah, I had a
said,
couple.
I looked at him and went,
There's
I'm
one
just gonna go sit in
guy,
the corner.
if
And I
you
sat in
know
the
him,
corner.
you know him. Not that big of a guy. Has a definite. He definitely thought
Little
that he
man
was.
complex.
Let's call him out. What's his belt? Let's fight him.
I don't think he even fights. But Jesse said not to call him out because you may. He's still involved with certain
Yeah.
commissions, so
They might just
you don't
judge
want to
you
mess.
after.
Not actually.
You don't want to mess
seriously
up with.
recommending.
Well, I was going to say his name before, but he's like, yeah, well, you don't want to, have him get mad and screw somebody over that you're friends with or something. I'm like, that's true. So anyway, one of the gimmicks, I fought this guy from Chechnya, and they were going to announce as Russian and all, and this was right after Trump got elected. So I said it would be, with all the Russia stuff and all going on, like, it's such an easy gimmick if you just play like super Trump supporter. So you ever heard, like the Charlie Daniels band, the country?
Yeah, yeah.
You ever heard the song "In America"? Like,
I
the
don't
flag's
know. I
been
don't know.
flying
Yeah.
low.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
I know, and a lot of people saying that America's fixing to fall. And it talks
going,
about
don't
like
stop there.
the Russians, but speaking
Period.
just for me and some people from Tennessee, we got a thing or two to tell you all. This country may have stumbled, but she ain't ever failed. And if the Russians don't believe that, they can all go straight to hell. So anyway, I was like, I could just get a "Make America Great Again" hat on, put that on, walk out to that song, and just wear the American flag while I'm fighting this Russian. So, because he came out to like some like Vanderlei Silva, like, foreign sounding music, and they said he was
Sandstorm.
Russian. And then if I walked out to that, I could just play it up and be like, "This is for America." And this was before, you can look up the date that I fought him. May 13th of 2017.
Damn.
That was when that fight was.
Rain Man.
Huh?
I said Rain Man.
Yeah, I remember dates.
That was freaky.
Yeah, that's weird,
was
right?
weird.
I remember most of my
Dude.
fight dates. Because I remember thinking like, oh, it's this date, so it's ingrained in my head a lot of times.
Well, that was period
Yeah.
That was definitely period
So anyway, if you look it up, Kobe Covington didn't do that until later on. But I was just like, man, that is such an easy gimmick. If you didn't have a gimmick and you wanted to get, get traction, you could just do that, because so many people already are going to hate you just because you do it,
Right.
and then other people are going to like you, and you can just talk like Trump, be like, you loser, just say, because you really think about it, Kobe Covington's gimmick isn't that well thought out. He's not The Rock. It's
Right.
literally think stereotypical Trump supporter, and then just do that. That's what he's done, whether you like Trump or not, but that's what he's done. I mean, you can like him as much as you want, but he's just gone stereotypical, say whatever a stereotypical Trump person would say, and that's Kobe Covington. So I was just like, you could just easily play this up, So I almost did it.
Yeah.
Good thing I didn't, I guess.
I was.
But what I did do, I made a promo video to tell everybody that I was having this fight. And I took a Donald Trump speech where he's like, our country's in serious trouble. We don't have victories anymore. And then I took another one where he's like, we're going to turn things around and we're going to start winning again. We're going to win so much that you're going to get tired of winning. So at the beginning of it, I took all these still images of American fighters losing. So I had like BJ Penn losing to Yair Rodriguez. I had Michael Bisping knocking out Luke Rockhold, like all these different like frames, and like all our countries losing. And then I put in my entrance music when he says we're gonna start winning again, and it's like going like the dun dun dun, and he's gonna, and then I had like my highlights playing, and then it said like May 13th, the dude returns. So it was
pretty cool.
I started with it almost, but I could have kept it going.
I always thought it'd be fun to not just like have some sort of gimmick or shtick that you do in interviews, walking out, like do something you can embody and like pro wrestling style, like characterize while you're fighting.
Yeah.
So like be that animated like talker, like the wrestling gimmicks, like be like a pro wrestler doing real fights. I always thought that would be fun to
Well, I guess
experiment
Kevin Holland kind of does that.
He talks.
Did he talk at all while he was getting smashed? Is that the only time?
I don't think he might have said something at one point.
He was just down there like
All respect to you, Kevin Holland.
yeah.
If you ever see this, I was rooting for you to knock that guy out.
Kevin Holland's a great fighter.
I'm a Kevin Holland.
Yeah.
the Jacare
fun
thing's
guy to watch, too.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what you're
exactly.
talking about, where he says
I think he did a couple different
I had a
times.
dream
He did a
about
couple different
this.
fights.
Yeah.
I think it was didn't he fight Derek Brunson too?
I don't know, but the one he looked
talked a
over
lot.
at DC. He's like, DC, you gotta teach me wrestling, man. And he was like, yeah, man, we can do it. And he actually like came to this.
There was the one where he was in the choke and he was like, he did the thumbs up. It became like a meme. Remember?
Yeah.
I think that was Kevin Holland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
He's a fun guy to watch.
I like that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
I
the
wish he
coolest,
would have
coolest
won.
gets.
I was rooting for you, man.
Sorry, Kevin Holland.
Get him
Yeah.
with the dolly.
Any as far as the UFC thing goes, though, any other opinions?
It was just a weird card.
So
lead up the card together.
we've talked about Tony Ferguson before when we had Jesse Stern on, actually. But how many has it been for?
I think that's 5 in a row.
Because you had Justin Gaethje. After Gaethje, he lost to Oliveira. Then he lost to
Beneil Dariush.
Barlush. Then he lost to
Chandler. And then he
Chandler.
just lost to Nate Diaz.
5 in a row.
Yeah.
So like,
But-
what do you do? What happens with them? You don't cut. Like it would be messed. You
he's not
can't
gonna
cut
get
him
You can't
now.
cut because I feel like honestly,
A fouling too.
yeah, he's a fan favorite. I feel like you don't.
Yeah.
There's no like UFC fan who's like, "F Tony Ferguson, he's the worst," and everyone's like, "No, Tony's on the card. Like that's cool. Like
Yeah.
that's gonna be a fun fight to watch."
It's always fun. So, but it's like, what do they do?
They don't have to cut him at all. If Sam Alvey can fight all those fights
Yeah.
losing to bums, then
And if Sam
Ferguson's
Alvey didn't
fine.
even have a
Yeah.
huge run like Ferguson did.
True.
Yeah, Ferguson's
but
fine.
who
And, like-
would you give Ferguson next? I'm not saying cut him at all. Should he fight a guy? Should you give him a a layup now, or does he get another?
Maybe.
Masvidal.
But the Masvidal might not go.
Oh, he's at 170. Is he going to fight 170 for good?
I don't even know. Ferguson says he doesn't care. 155, 170.
Okay.
I don't know.
That sounds like the Ferguson statement. That's why I love him.
Yeah.
Masvidal, I mean, he might.
I would like to see him just fighting a guy who's like more towards where he is in his career, where
like a Joe Lazon type.
Yeah,
or
Joe
like a
Lazon.
Cowboy.
That's what I was going to
There
say.
you go.
Yeah.
Cowboy retired, right?
I know, but I mean, just like
Yeah,
those
no,
types of
yeah.
guys.
Let him fight
like
Jim Miller.
Jim Miller, yeah.
Exactly. Like Jim Miller.
Let him fight that.
That's a great fight.
Because he probably could. He could probably get a one-on-one.
What weight class was Jim fighting at in his last fight?
That had to be 55.
I think it's 55 still.
Yeah, if he's those two guys
55
could
or 70,
fight.
they both could be.
Lozon was trying to come back too.
Yeah,
Diego Sanchez.
Joe Lozon? Yeah. Diego Sanchez is fine.
Diego's
Without
not
that
in the
weird
UFC.
dude that he was
He's
right
not in the UFC, but they should bring him back. What's his name? The weird dude is
He'd
gone.
be a good fight for. That'd be a perfect fight for Tony.
Because he is kind of the Tony Ferguson 2.0. Think about it.
Yeah.
He's like the improved Tony Ferguson.
Who?
I mean, Diego
Sanchez is the improved.
No,
Tony
Diego
Ferguson
Sanchez.
is the
Yes.
improved Diego Sanchez, yes.
Think about it. Like they both had like these weird training techniques. I mean, Tony Ferguson had to pull out of a fight because he broke his leg on kicking a pole. Like, who does that?
Yeah.
You know. So they both are. There's a lot of similarities there.
Yeah.
Do you remember when he went crazy and thought he was Jesus Christ?
Who?
Tony Ferguson?
Yeah.
Oh, what was that?
Oh, nobody knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went crazy, man. He just like lost it, and I guess his wife called the cops on him or something.
Yeah.
And you remember when he was in the Ultimate Fighter, and he
he got drunk
snapped
that
on
one
the
night?
guy and taught him like a, I don't know if he called him like a fatherless bastard or something like that.
He said something nasty.
Bro, Tony's got a side to him.
Yeah.
He's a nut.
Wasn't he drinking that night too?
I'm sure.
I think
I didn't
was,
watch that. I didn't watch that
Yeah,
season.
he got drunk.
He had
That
like
was
a
the
drunk antic night.
Lesnar. The
Lesnar, Dos
Was it
Santos.
called? What do you say? Turn chicken into chicken salad.
Turn chicken shit into chicken salad.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
It's Brock Lesnar. You don't have to question it.
Yeah.
Guy's got a sword tattooed down his chest. You don't question it.
Did anyone else wonder? There was the period of time when Nate was doing the weird stuff where he was like putting his arms on the cage. I swear, I have a theory on this. I think Nate almost quit when he put his arms up and like shed the no thing, like he was almost like he wasn't even fighting. I think he thought that maybe the ref was even going to stop it. Then he snapped out of it and realized it was stupid. I think he was getting kicked in the legs and he didn't like the leg kicks and he wanted to stop fighting.
I was like, Tony, just keep kicking those legs. I'm gonna just keep kicking them.
I
was
think
like,
Nate
when
almost
he was
quit.
kicking those legs, he was having so much more success.
Really?
Yeah, almost like how Nick quit. That was the weirdest thing. Nobody talks like I love the Diaz brothers,
Yeah.
but Nick
coming for you now.
literally just was like, I'm done fighting.
209.
In the last fight.
quit.
And I thought Nate almost
Then I
did
hear
it
this
too.
guy over here on this podcast saying I quit, man. I didn't quit. Come to Stockton.
Stockton.
Think you know chokes.
Yeah, I mean, look, dude, I was rooting for Nate. I love the Diaz brothers.
so let's
but
expand
I
on
thought
this.
he was quitting.
I want to go back and watch that.
You'd have to see the clip. Yeah,
So I watched the fight.
Watch again.
yeah.
I watched the fight. So what was it? He put his. Are you talking about when he
was
put his
like-
and tried
when
to
he
kick?
first did it, see, okay, I think he did this. The first time he did it, he turned away and turned his back to the guy and like shook his finger like he was done fighting.
Like the air
Tony.
tap.
He like waved it off kind of.
It looked like
then I think he turned it into a tactic or like a play off of it and like put his arms on the cage and was resting and was like taunting Tony to make him come at him.
Yeah.
I think if Tony didn't take him down and get tapped, or if he kept beating him up, Nate might not have even wanted to finish that fight. And if you remember in the post-fight press conference, he said his leg was hurting him. He said he had some
bleeding,
ice
yeah.
pack thing that got down and soaked his shoes. There was like a joke
Oh yeah,
thing.
and
a
you
clip.
said he hated the shoes that the UFC gave him.
Yeah, something about that, about all that. So
Okay, here we go. Let me see.
Yeah, but Tony was beating him with those leg kicks.
oh, somebody else said it. Did he quit? I think he's shaking his head like, no, I'm not fighting. He's done.
Huh.
Then he came back in when he was about to get hit.
Yeah.
And then after that, he was putting his hands on the cage and was sort of dogging him.
Yeah.
And that's when Tony laid down and did like the, I don't know which point Tony laid down. He did the Nick Diaz.
Nick Diaz on him, yeah. Huh. And then he also was talking to people. That's what I want to know is what was Nate saying, because remember he stopped it and was talking to somebody outside of the cage at one point too.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was talking trash to Dana White or not. Probably not Dana White because he said he was cool. I mean, who knows?
But he still does.
But yeah, he still does.
You can still be cool with them talk trash.
But
Yeah,
They're
he's
Nate Diaz.
crazy.
Yeah, or was he talking to his corner or Tony's corner? You know, or was he talking to his corner and his corner was like, no man, you got
Yeah.
I mean that footage is somewhere out there. There's cameras everywhere, so somewhere there's the footage of what he's
Everyone's
saying.
mic'd up.
Everybody's mic'd up, so I want to see
If
that.
it was significant, they probably would be talking about it, but I have no idea. I just know that was a weird fight. Neither guy looked good.
Yeah.
I mean, Nate
didn't look bad. I mean, he got kicked
I don't
up.
think he looked.
I don't think he looked that good.
I didn't look that good either.
He didn't get
I
hit
was
to the head
impressed.
as much as he normally did.
Well, he spent half the time hanging off the cage.
True.
And
I mean, he
watch it
looked
again.
better against Leon Edwards.
He did look
than
better
looked-
than Leon Edwards,
And
yeah.
because Nate's that guy that he could have that fight where he goes out there like when he demolished Cowboy. That was top level.
Yes.
Nate Diaz.
10 years ago.
I know, but he's
That's
had
the thing.
fights since then.
Yeah.
Even the second Conor fight, he looked good. He was in there back and forth. He could have even arguably won that decision.
Yeah.
That's a 5-round war with Conor McGregor, who's one of the most tactical, best strikers in
Yeah.
the division history. The division they fought at, whatever they fought
Yeah.
at. But regardless.
170s where they fought, but yeah.
Yeah.
still,
Yeah, I mean, either way, Nate is one of those up and down guys. Just when you think that he looks terrible, like if you go all the way back in his career, you'll see Rory McDonald made him look god awful. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
I thought he looked really bad against Masvidal for the length of that fight.
yeah.
till
was
it
Rory
was done.
McDonald the guy? Yeah, Masvidal looked like he was just a step ahead that whole fight.
Yeah.
Like it looked like Nate. In my mind, Nate was playing catch up.
Yeah.
like
And-
Masvidal was always first, always hitting big shots and getting out. Nate was like kind of following but not getting the shots. Was Nate Diaz the guy who Rory McDonald just kept like picking
Yep.
up and slamming?
Yes.
Absolutely.
He
It
was,
was
he was like
bad.
boom,
It was
boom,
hard
boom.
to watch.
Yeah, it was like. Body
I don't
lock,
think
up,
that's the
body lock,
only
up.
person to do that to him. I mean, I think he lost fights to I think Clay Guida wrestled him for.
Yeah.
He definitely got out wrestled early in his career, a couple fights. I don't know who else he had a loss to. Did he lose to that stun gun guy like Dong Yong Kim? Do you remember him?
Mm-hmm.
I think he might have. What happened to that
It's
guy?
hard to remember. I don't. That's a good question. I think he started
remember-
getting knocked out.
I think I remember
He lost
Tyron
the-
Woodley
He
knocking
lost the
him out.
title fight to Benson Henderson. I remember
Stun
that.
gun?
No,
Nate.
no.
That
Nate.
was 170.
Nate.
Yeah, and he was just flicking him off.
Yeah, he
the
was,
whole
he was
time.
like,
Yeah.
he just flipped
That's
him off. Like, half
that's the
fight.
biggest annoying thing with the Diaz brothers is it seemed like when they get to big situations, it's like they almost don't even care. It's not that they, you know what I mean? Like it's almost
Yeah.
like it's not like they go out and they fight and they lost. Like there's a certain point to where they're just like, you know what? I'm just gonna flick you off.
It's their attitude,
Like-
man. It's why we love them.
Yeah.
It's why they have so many fans, though.
Yeah, but
They're
it's like,
predictable.
Like even like the Nick Diaz like George St. Pierre fight.
It's crazy.
Like he got up afterwards. He was like, "Man, you didn't do nothing." Like talking
Yeah.
trash afterwards.
Yeah.
he's like win or lose, he hits like
Yeah.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, they come around full circle or they're maturing. I mean, they were immature in certain ways. They have a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah.
And they don't like any sort of authority. They don't like the politics of anything. They don't care about, they do care, but even if they got the belt, they'd be like, I don't give a shit about this belt. You know what I mean?
It'd be
Like, they
interesting to see
care.
what happened if one of them actually got the belt. Like how it would be.
I think he's right. Though.
Yeah.
I think they'd be
Yeah,
like, I think they'd be like,
Put it on the
Do I-
ground and
do I
leave
have
it.
to defend-
They would
Do I
have
have
been,
to
they would have been
defend
like,
myself?
I'm
I'm
big
like, yeah.
champion. What are you talking
You'd be like,
about?
I don't want that
yeah, I'm the
stupid
best.
belt.
I
I'm already the best. I don't
Yeah.
get to show it.
I defended my belt 50 times. Like you don't even have 50 fights, sir. Like it's my 50 title defense. Defended
Yeah.
against that guy in sparring the other night. You didn't see these hitters that I'm fighting. Ain't nobody fighting hitters like me.
Yeah,
Fight hitters.
I'm not sure, man. I mean, at the end of the day, I think that you saw it in the Nick thing. You saw the conversation he had with Robbie. If you followed Nick Diaz's social media stories over the years, you see the guy is just like drunk out of his mind, talking nonsense to the camera like for years straight. And I
Yeah.
think Nate and him, I mean, as much as my Instagram handle's the psychedelic athlete. Like
Yeah.
I like that side of things, but I mean, they were just too drunk, too stoned, too out of their mind, I think, for too many years.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Nick got handed that crazy charge from
Assault from his domestic.
No, I'm talking about like when he got popped for
the weed.
The weed popped the
5
one time.
years.
5 years.
And then, but they also like what was it like $75,000 fine or something like that. They tried to
Yeah.
stop on him.
Something crazy.
That 5 years, he lost his mind.
That
Well, I
5
mean, he
years
just sat there and did the Dave Chappelle. He's like fifth. You know.
like.
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle came back, killed it,
Yeah.
made way more money.
I'm saying he did the Fifth Amendment,
Oh,
like
okay.
the skit where.
Oh, I thought you meant fifth of vodka.
Yeah,
or
I thought,
something.
that's what I thought. I thought he was just
Another
killing another
fifth.
fifth. Yeah. that's
No,
what I
you
thought were going
remember?
at.
You remember when he was. There was a skit where on the Dave Chappelle show, I believe it was, where he was in court and he's like, "I plead the fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fifth."
Yes.
But then when Nick Diaz went up before the commission, he just said Fifth Amendment to everything. So people were making it was a meme
I
to
don't
where they
remember
were correlating that to the Dave Chappelle, because he was saying, like, "Is your name Nick Diaz? Fifth Amendment." Like,
Yeah.
Did you fight at UFC, whatever it was? The one that was on April 12th, 2012. No, I'm kidding.
Dude, those are the types of guys. They're the types
Myself
of
and Nick
trouble.
Diaz.
You got to understand, like, think about the artists like Kurt Cobain, who, when they get famous, they get everything, they wind up, they're not fulfilled. They're still the people that are on edge, suicidal, troubled, all the problems. Like, Nick and Nate have that sort of thing where, like, they are troubled, they have deep-rooted things, they have a different type of psychology, and the things that we think would make people happy don't make them happy. And it's a toxic headspace to be in for sure.
Yeah, it's I found, and that's something that when I was younger, I found that I connected with them more, and I was like, oh yeah. And then as I've gotten older and kind of like dealt with like more things that I've went through, I kind of look at it and I'm like, it's almost sad when you kind of look at how they
How it kind of turned out.
Yeah.
just when you go back and look at how their view of the world, how they interact, how they are, it's, you kind of can see it from a different perspective at a certain point, to where you go like, man, like they need to like deal with their stuff. You know?
Yeah. It's that way with a lot of people. Some people are the opposite. They sing happy songs and they're miserable and hateful and beat their wives and do all that BS too. So I think it's just a big problem, period. And especially like with fame, and it takes a certain type of person to even make it that far in any sort of business, like the fight game and all that. I think at the highest level, you have all sorts of troubled people, whether they're like the politician, like fake people, who are like good salespeople. They're good like at like putting on the fake front, and then meanwhile their wives and kids know what they're really like, or maybe people who know them well. But there is a lot of that cult stuff, and there's a lot of people that get protected because it's not like they're totally in the limelight. But you see it even with like big jiu-jitsu people, like the cyborg stuff that went on, or I don't even know, man. And at the end of the day, the one thing I'll say about Nick and Nate Diaz is all their teammates have nothing but good things to say about them.
Yeah.
And they say they would do anything for them, and they treat them like brothers. Like they have their own troubled side, but
genuinely good.
Yeah.
Like in
I
the
bet.
sense of, somebody that you want to be friends with. Like they're not going to
Absolutely.
I
they're
think
not
with
gonna
what
betray you.
you're saying too, like social media makes that so much bigger,
right.
because you don't even have to like talk to someone, like be around them. You can just put it on your page.
Right.
And now you don't even have to like put on a face and show it. You can kind of just like put that out there
Yeah.
and hide what you're really feeling, what you're really doing, what you're really going through.
Yeah.
And you don't have to you don't have to put on a brave face and like stuff it down for a little while, or like ignore it for a while. You just make a post that seems happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think they're the flip. They give a certain attitude towards social media and the public that deep down they are these soft, good guys. Deep down in a lot of ways, but they still have, they're still
They still got a lot of things.
destruction. There's inner conflict.
There's inner turmoil.
Yeah. The world is out to get a Diaz brother, bro.
Yeah.
They got a chip on their
209.
shoulder. Yeah.
209.
Yeah, man. We're about.
Yeah. Anything else good? Is that
We've
good?
been going about a good little while. Eric always has a question that he asks everybody. But
Okay.
other than that,
Eddie
this
says
has been brought to you by Eddie Dowd Real Estate. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, let the dude fight for you by calling 410-588-6536. Also, the Podcast Lab, where we sit right
Period.
now, is period. If you want to record your next single or your next podcast, come to the Podcast
Eddie
Lab.
Dowd Realty. Period.
Everywhere else, period.
Yeah.
So
Keller will no.
I'm going to change the question for today, too.
Ooh.
Now, if you're going to pick one, like, celebrity or media person to be president, who would you pick?
Wow.
Because I always ask people, would you pick Kanye or Skeet?
Oh,
So out of that,
yeah, that's tough for
That's
me.
what I usually pick.
I don't really know them well enough. Who's the second one? Skeet? Who's
Yeah,
that?
Pete Davidson.
Oh.
The guy from SNL.
If I had to pick
action.
between
One of the
them,
two.
I would probably pick Pete, but they are low-hanging fruit on celebrities that I would choose.
okay. So you're voting for Pete.
Well,
out
if
of
it has
this.
to be high,
Well, we
A-list
need to have like
okay,
a
look,
count.
A-list celebrity,
who's
Keanu
winning
Reeves.
in this.
Keanu Reeves.
Oh my gosh,
He's a great guy.
Wait, that's what Hannah said.
But he's a great guy.
He's in
It's
the
so
race.
obvious.
Dude, I think he's
Keanu
gonna
Reeves
start running.
is now like the independent.
Yeah,
on
he's our
thing.
independent.
Yeah.
So we've been asking people Kanye West
episode.
versus Skeet every episode, and we need to have like a tally. We need to be like,
We need to like bring it up on the screen.
Yeah.
Bring that up.
and now there's Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, bring that up,
And then
Jamie.
there's Swayze over there.
Swayze just.
Do you know you know the 302 guys at all?
The Delaware Jiu-Jitsu, the Delaware MMA guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Larry. I
Like
know
Earl. You know Earl?
I do know him.
Do you know Swayze, his cousin?
No.
Oh my gosh, he's awesome.
I was really
Shout
close
out
to
Swayze.
Taylor and
Swayze
the
man.
Lyons brothers before they left. Obviously, there was this guy Juan out there, and I knew this guy. Did you ever meet Ernie, the guy who coached those guys at Predator before they went to 302?
No, but I feel like I've heard some.
He's a wild dude. He's awesome.
All right,
but
tell
he's
us the
crazy.
story.
It's not. I mean, he's just like an old school, like just super passionate. Wears his heart on his sleeve. Kind of like an old school grappler that is like versed, but probably very fundamental. You know, the bread and butter, what's been around for a while, like good principles. But yeah, he just is a funny attitude. I love him. I would love training with Ernie. But
Cool.
yeah, but it doesn't matter. But
He's period I.
yes, 1,000,000%.
Period.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is the period I.
Oh yeah,
podcast.
the celebrity's president,
Yeah.
right?
Well, you said Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves.
I feel that.
I think that type of person.
Fighters. What about
Ooh,
fighters?
fighters.
Randy Couture, Boss Rutan.
Ooh.
Boss Rutten? Chael Sonnen.
I think he's too shady.
Yeah,
He's too
Chael.
he's too selfish.
Chael
He would take
Chael.
advantage of it
Yeah,
more.
he would. Chael Sonnen is like the press secretary. Could you imagine that?
Yeah.
So what
like-
you need to understand,
He'd be like, Kim Jong-un, you absolutely suck.
yeah, like the press secretary, like I forgot the lady's name now, but that is Chael Sonnen's job under the Randy Couture, because they're cool. Randy Couture, president.
Dan Henderson. I don't know who I would pick,
Yeah.
but Randy Couture's probably.
We used to call Dan
I think
Henderson
who's
Uncle
level-headed,
Uncle Dan.
who's wise, who's level-headed, who's strategical, who doesn't jump the gun, who isn't. I mean, everyone's a little
Nick Diaz.
self-serving, but I would
What
say
if Nick
Randy
Diaz-
Couture is just a balanced
that's
human
probably the
being.
best
You know what I
answer.
was just listening to earlier? You know the Nas song, like "If I Ruled the World."
Yeah.
You ever listen to that and then like think about the things that he says that he would do, and then what that would do to the world? Because he says, "I'd free all my sons." So I'm like, so you would just free everybody that was in jail, like just open the jails, murderers and everything?
I don't know if he literally would. I don't think he put that much thought into it.
I was just thinking.
I don't think.
Yeah, he also
I
said
know-
I'd kill all the cops. No,
course.
no, yeah.
Of course, but no, I'm not. I'm not saying that he did, but I was just thinking about it. I was just like,
Oh, yeah.
what if we made a video analyzing his political strategy and how it would affect the world?
Nas.
There we go.
I'd free all my sons. So all right, murderers, rapists, just let them out. All right, I think that's it. Anything
Yeah.
else to say? Where can they find you? Tell them about your little podcast.
Mike Turpin. You can find me on Instagram, the Psychedelic Athlete, and that's really good enough. I mean, the podcast info, all that kind of stuff, everything kind of comes out of there. All the stuff that I don't want all my family and friends and every normal person to see goes to my Instagram and my
Yeah.
more like politician page. No, my more normal page is my Facebook, but Instagram's probably the best way to, follow what I'm doing if you're not a total square.
Cool. Period. Eric, anything else to say?
Nope. I'm good.
All right.
This was a period right?
Yeah.
This
This
was
period
definitely a
for
period.
sure.
We appreciate it.
What about the other guys though? Who was period
Who's period?
You know, 30 names under the bus. When we stopped
That
this
guy who tried to
recording-
kick me out of the fight that he made me go in the octagon. That guy. He's period.
That guy is period.
period.
All right, this has been the Rhino and the Dude. Another episode.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you for having me.
Have a great day.